Get out the insurance cards, get out the co-pays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
So let's get to it.
Bring the pain!
What's up, everybody? It's Heat Override, and I'm ready to bring the pain for you and Dr. Roto this week. Ooh, yeah! Man, we're getting live right now. We're up on the YouTube. We got the Twitch going for the Bring the Pain. And I'm ready for another Hard Hits review. Woo! Man, it's been a wild, wild week. We had another great weekend. Not a lot of injuries. That's good news for a lot of us seasonal fans in fantasy football. Totally excited about that. At the same time, I wanted to think we had such a great event for UFC 320 and Ankalaev versus Pereira to part 2. And also, then you had that great Sunday. Of course, Thursday, the Rams losing. You know, I'm still going to rep my team. I'm still going to look up. Horns up. Ooh, yeah. Man, we're getting jacked up today. Like always, you will get a waiver wire pickup for tonight's waiver wire for IDP. And you will also get the Macho Pick of the week at the end of this. I mean, I picked Nico Collins last week. Nico Collins balled out, but we'll get to a little bit of that right now, actually. So if you haven't been over to Dr. Roto, head over to Dr. Roto right now. Use code word WIN, and you will be our rich friend. I can't explain it to you anymore. The bets were definitely great this week. Missed on some, hit on some. And we'll talk all about that as we get through it. But let's hit it up. So my DraftKings lineup that I gave away for the Ultra Contrarian lineup, Steve and me on Saturday, I got that, was 142. Got my double ups easily, practically placed. I placed in a triple up, but again, that's all that is. It's a cash game lineup. We're not taking any chances. We're being safe. And then FanDuel, rolled a 127, was able to cash again, bringing my weekly total for both lineups to 4-1. It's been a hard year. There's been some injuries. We've been able to dodge a few, but I mean, last night, Brenton Strange took a few of my parlays and took a few of my DFS lineups down with them. Yeah, no, bro. What you just gonna be like Engram now? You get the starting tight end position in Jacksonville, and you're just gonna be hurt all the time. And I gotta commend Fuego Steve. Steve, if you're listening, watching this live, great job on rolling Kroll. That was a great sway because it may have not paid out for you totally in the end, but at least you got the tight end that was going to stay healthy. So that's all that matters this year in the NFL. That's the best part about all this. So again, yeah, I see you. I got you now. I got it. So of course, this is live, everybody. If you have a question or anything or talk about something a bad beat from this week, I literally had Mahomes and Travis Etienne in that game last night. I came up 0.7 short of winning. The defending champ is 1-4. It's just, of course I chase, right? But anyway, let's get to it. So those are my NFL totals. Did really good. I know Steve did really, really, really well. I mean, he hit it with Puka last week. And again, this week, he just is nailing it. He was all over Williams. And the price on it, I think it was about 20-25%, depending on the slate. But I have a few people that stick out. But on the UFC side, we'll get to, of course, a lot of the NFL DFS plays that me and Steve talked about throughout that couple highlights that we had. So that being said, I am totally excited about that. Now, UFC side, FanDuel 580, great, cashed in all my cash lineups. So I did place in one tournament, I think the $3 one. I'd have to go back and check on that one, but I ain't checking it live. So don't even hold me to it, people. Right? And then, of course, DK. I didn't write that down for some stupid reason, but I know I got like a 479, 528. It was like one or both of them or something like that. Because I did play the late slate for UFC DFS on DraftKings only. I did play that. So that's only the main card. So then, I was able to nail a few of those. Of course, Pereira being a huge discount. That was in my 5-tastic picks. Actually, all of my 5-tastic picks hit even Patchy Mix, who was about 20% owned, but still put up 52 points, I think, on FanDuel in a loss. Should have won that, was one of my losses. We'll get to that as well, too. But overall, when you look at it, Sandhagen was 18%, Pereira 20%. But look again, the Fight Club of Pain keeps nailing the fighter you need on your card. That wins. That is low percentage, right? That's the Ultra Contrarian show done UFC. And I'm going to pat myself on the back along with Dan. Yeah, I disappeared. I'm like a magician. Oh, yeah, right? So that is the hard work that me and Dan put into the Fight Club of Pain, able to produce these finishes because, and I will say this from day one, and I will say this until I am proven wrong, which I haven't been, and it's not going to ever happen. A computer in a sim will never beat a person in UFC. Yeah, the sims can put out a lineup. Yeah, you could play 150 lineups. But I'm going to tell you this, the sims aren't going to be able to project those knockouts and finishes like a human can. A human can see openings. The sim can't. The sim needs numbers. People, this is why getting your UFC information from two fighters, one who is fighting next Saturday, who I have two fights next Saturday, is giving you the information for finishes. I mean, if I know how to finish, which I am going to finish the champion this season, if I know how to finish as a champion and win grand champion only weeks ago, then I'm just saying, I'm selling the show, people. I'm just out. That's what we have at Dr. Roto. That's what we have now, and that's one of many products. And I know that I heard that there's some NASCAR coming to Dr. Roto. Man, every time I play some NASCAR, like my guy's getting wrecked. I don't even know what be happening. But that's racing. Just like at any moment, a fighter can lose. But let me review that fighter that was 12% owned. Y'all gave me Bahasret. You gave me Basharet. You gave me him. You gave us that guy at 12% owned. That's why we score money. That's why we win. Because we're able, in the same way as I just said, that Steve nails it along with me on the Ultra Contrarian show. These lineups are under 10% owned mostly. It's not even funny anymore, people, because we're giving you low-owned players, and we're still able to cash. Lower-owned players also help you in the big tournaments. But the fact we're able to give you cash game lineups and GPP lineups and hit like that is amazing. So when we go back over this week's NFL, and we look at some of the big lineups right here, right? So, actually, I was wrong. I was wrong about that. I scored 608 points on my MMA lineup. So I had Pereira, I had Dvalishvili, Sandhagen, Gautier, Soriano, and you. Why did I not stick to my boy Brahima? Brahimaj was my biggest play. That was my lineup. But you got that lineup. You got that lineup. And you got that lineup for, at Subs Only Discord. That's what I'm doing with Dan. I wanted to make sure. The other lineup I did had Ank. It also had Dvalishvili and Sandhagen. It was a playoff of this lineup. So when I'm looking at all that right there, and then we're going down to the football side of things right now, like, this is what we're producing right now at Dr. Roto and what we're trying to do to get all of you. So what was one of the guys that we talked about on the show was Darnold, 10% owned. But Gibbs was highly owned, 57%. Now, Chase was talked about. I was able to get Chase at 15%, which was amazing. But the fact that we were able to get ready, CJ Stroud at 2% in a big tournament. We got Mason Taylor. Now, remember when me and Steve were talking, everybody's going to be on Tommy Tremble. Everybody's be on Tommy Tremble. And what happened? What happened? Tremble's backup caught a touchdown. And when Mitchell Evans caught a touchdown. That was called in the Sunday show by me as a certain question I asked the doc for a reason. Because over the years, the Carolina Panthers backup tight ends have always screwed me. Every time I've went Jatavian Sanders, I've gotten screwed by Tommy Tremble. Anytime I went anybody else, I've always got screwed by the backup tight end. This is something numbers ain't going to tell you. This is somebody who's watched his heart being broken is going to tell you. This is somebody who's going to remember that, not a bot. Psst. Play it what you want. You can say it, but I'll run my mouth, and that's what I do as a champion, right? But you get Mitchell Evans right there. And the fact that we were able to get the Saints defense from anywhere from 2 to 10% in some of the big lineups and smaller contests, again, 18 points, people. And when you're getting Mason Taylor for 2.3% owned, when everybody is jumping. Now, I know Ferguson was the guy to own, but look, I'm punting tight end. Because I'm getting Nico Collins in. I'm getting Jahmyr Gibbs in. I'm getting those points, some cash points in for all of you. And that's what we do. All right. I mean, it was a great week. A lot of the bets hit, and we went over all of that. So, well, we'll leave the betting, UFC betting, to this part. All right, let's get to it. This is how I had it written down. Of course, I always write it down the way the UFC has it. The way the fights get scheduled or turned around time-wise is not my fault. I picked Veronica Hardy over Brogdon Walker. Bam. Now, I'm going to tell you something. The Sims were giving you Walker. If you go back to the Fight Club of Pain, I was laughing. Hysterically laughing. Why was I laughing? Because I knew Walker was going to lose. Of course, it went a lot longer than I thought it was going to go. But regardless, Hardy won it. It was simple and easy. Now, Brahima, an underdog against Austin Vanderford, got it. Not only was he a DFS target, it would have won me more money on my DFS lineup. He was recommended in the Five-tastic Picks article, just like I said, at Dr. Roto, behind the paywall, because that's what we do. We have articles. I'm going to talk about my boys' article real soon, because y'all going to hear it. Because this is, again, the work that's going in on the website and into the podcast. All right, Pudihili Soriano got another win. Bam, what a great night. And then Dan, freaking Dan Dansky of all people, part of the UFC Sheriffs, literally at the end of that podcast goes, yo, your boy Patchy Mix is on the card. I want to attack him. Patchy Mix is losing to Jacob, the guy we were making fun of a week ago, right? And he was right. I thought Patchy did hold him down a little too much. Patchy should have did a lot more ground and pound. Would have helped his case out a little more. He took a few lip shots. We would have thought a lot more laughter if we got a little more. But I had Patchy. It's my first loss of the night. Dan's smiling somewhere. So, we went. Actually, yeah, we'll get to that. So got Patchy Mix. Bam. Macy Chassion versus Yana Santos. Santos was in my initial Tuesday lineup build that I made. And guess what? Yana Santos got it. Got another win. Now, I did pick Jo Sung Yu, but I knew that Daniel Santos was strong, and I don't know why I made that move. This was a bad move. I just really liked you. That's why he was in my DFS lineup I talked about earlier. I picked him, took my second loss. It happens, right? But Farid Baharashet, right? He's beating up Chris Gutierrez the whole time, and we nail that, and we get the percentages again. Of course, Edmund Shabazian got that, another win. And Atebe Gautier versus Tristan Vines. Okay, let's just go back. Not only the Parlay of Pain, not only to the Fight Club of Pain. Everybody knew Gautier was going to beat the living daylights out of Vines. How did I say it? This ain't going to be like the Swamp Thing. You ain't going to get Vines. You ain't coming back. Once you go down, you get knocked out, bro. And that's exactly what happened. Here's the thing. I had the nuts to pull the trigger. I took the under half round on Gautier. That was recommended and also talked about on the Five-tastic Picks and also stressed on the Fight Club of Pain. Get the knockouts. Under was like a 790, right? Boom, we got the next one right there. We got knockout sub. But man, that plus 174 on under 0.5 rounds? That's only a call the Fight Club of Pain at Dr. Roto makes. That's what we do. It ain't nothing but just facts. Facts. If you guys like facts, there's some facts for you. Yeah. Right? Boom. Abus Megamedev versus Joe Pyfer. Joe Pyfer, he broke up the fight, the parlay of pain. We'll get to that. Because of his method. I had Pyfer by knockout. But I also had Pyfer by knockout and sub. He was also recommended knockout and sub during that show. We got that one. That's one me and Dan both got right. Then we move over Josh Emmett versus Yusuf Zalal. Now I know that the glitch on FanDuel that was giving Josh Emmett money line and distance yes was way over border. But it wasn't going to happen. It would have been a nice wedge. We took both those. We half united that down. But guess what? We had Zalal knockout and sub. So we'll just flip this over right here. We had the decision no bet, negative 152. Distance no money line, negative 210. Under 2.5. I stressed. I said the under 2.5 is what you're playing in this. Also, the sub 600. Who was right? Fight Club of Pain. The Fight Club of Pain. Second, third round sub, we had the 2,000. We had knockout and points just to cover. The whole fight was covered. This is what we do. We just don't give you one knockout. We don't just give you that. I literally string together 5 things and you win it all. And that's why the glitch on FanDuel was perfect, because if none of it went right and Josh Emmett wins that, the plus 935 that we got for the glitch would have been great. Boom. All right, let's move along. Yuri Proshka, first time got to watch him actually live and not highlights, versus our boy Khalil Roundtree. This was a highlighted fight. I had Khalil Roundtree, and just Khalil had him. Khalil had him. If that goes the distance, Khalil wins, right? But what happened? All of a sudden, Proshka just opened up the offense. Whack, 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 right? And at the same time, now if you noticed, every time Proshka would come in or would keep his open stance, that is when Roundtree would blitz him with punches. That is Roundtree's bread and butter, just like it's mine, right? And so he pushed it through. But man, then he got caught. And then Proshka did not stop attacking him that whole entire fight, the whole third round. It was on. I was like, he's going down. And he took those massive blows at the end, laid him right out. Khalil Roundtree, great job, dude. That was a Warriors war. Proshka, it was great to see you win that. That puts you back in the title talk contention as well, too. In my opinion, that was a dominant win over a dominant fighter who just had a dominant win over Hill. Jamil Hill, that is. Yeah, if you know the UFC world, people. Yeah. So, we both got that. We go by Proshka. We both picked Merab Dvalishvili to win. Dan said Muggin. Then Dan gets called out on YouTube about this dude is seriously butthurt about Jose Aldo, and Dan saying he got beat down and ragdolled. And he goes, he did not ragdoll him. And I go, look, dude. And he goes, you need to watch the fight, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, we don't really get into it with people. But sometimes I can't always say, hey, this is what I see. This is what it is. Plus, also, while they're commenting under your captions, your shorts, your videos, that all counts. Whether it's negative or positive, each comment counts. So thank you for your pennies, brother. I loved getting that. Yeah, I know. And that's what I do. So I'm 11-2 at this point overall. Going to the main. sometimes, just like I did 2 weeks ago, you just got to pick the guy. You got to pick against your guy that you really want to win, like Alex Pereira. We both picked Ankalaev, and we said, and if you had been following all of my UFC rankings, the one thing I've talked about Pereira has been his training. If you've watched the Fight Club of Pain leading up to this fight, it's been about the boxing training. If you listen to the review podcast that I said about Alex Potan Pereira, then you know. Awesome, dude. I'm sorry I couldn't get that lineup yet. I'm going to be, look at Steve coming in with his quotes, second place in the NBA preseason lineup. That's what we're doing. You can get that lineup. Dr. Roto, or also we have an NHL. It starts tonight. We have a free lineup in there too. Little ADHD for everybody. Yeah, right? If you listened and read into all of that, the one thing I stressed was Pereira did not throw his reverse punch, and he's going to throw it. As a point fighter, I'm going to tell you something. I always attack my opponents. I've said that. I always have my fist in their face. I'm always attacking them. I'm kicking them. I'm side kicking them. I'm moving. I'm running. I'm attacking. So I don't understand why sometimes people don't understand that what it's like to be a striker. Pereira was safe in that first fight. We all saw it. He did not throw it. It was the biggest complaint I had, and it was his knockout hand. He threw that hand once, it hit Ank, and it dropped Ank, and he won the title. And we had that bet on the Fight Club of Pain. We had first round knockout plus 1,000. We had first, second, third plus 380. We also had under 4.5 rounds at negative 2.8. Decision no bet for Pereira plus 108. Decision no plus 112. And knockout. That's 7 bets for one dude, right? So let's just put it this way. In football, you can only just score a touchdown. It could be a first touchdown. But after that, it's just a money line touchdown. It could be a last touchdown. Ooh, we're getting fancy here, people. It's still just a money line touchdown. In the UFC, you get under half rounds, under 2.5 rounds, decision no bet. And again, the people that don't know what decision no bet is, it means you get your bet back if it goes decision. Yeah, we also had that on Merab. That's why we got some money back with Rob on Merab going into that main event. Now, I bring all this up. I go 11-3 for my picks. But those 3 losses also won a lot of money. That money was also at the Subs Only Discord. Now, the Parlay of Pain had 3 losses because I picked knockout for both in the Pfeiffer fight. He subbed him. It happens. Could have picked the under. Didn't do that. Well, I had it. It's just not what I highlighted for the Parlay of Pain. Also, a Shabazian knockout, negative 210. I had Gautier as the money line when it was just 1,000, but we were able to get that knockout. And the under 0.5, like I said, plus 176. Patchy Mix, he just straight up lost. I had a knockout sub for Patchy. And of course, Soriano, I had knockout sub. He got points. So that's what happens. I just picked the method wrong. I did only have 1 loss, but I picked the winning fighter. So again, if you round robin that, you got the 2 rounds, you got the doubles, you got the picks, and you got a little bit of your money back. But again, we were able to nail the Joe Pfeiffer. We were able to nail Yusuf Salal. We were able to nail Proshka. Dan, again, 3rd round knockout for Proshka. Dan called it right to the T. That was I think it was a plus 1,500 or something, 1,800. So again, it's just not me, people. It's not me. It's also Dan. It's my partner. It's also Fuego Steve putting in that greatness with my greatness as well. And of course, if you missed last week, I recommended Stroud, 2%, Brees Hall, 20%, Garrett Wilson, Fire, Mason Taylor, and the Saints defense. Those are my 5 highlights. And of course, Steve just killed it too. And that, again, is just us amongst the whole team. You had Doc and everybody talking on it on Wednesday, Friday. You have Danger, Trevor, and Lou weighing in on the Rising Crime. That's going to be recording tomorrow. And so you want to keep your notifications on at Dr. Roto on YouTube. Also get the Heat Override on YouTube and Heat Override on the X, Dr. Roto on the X, and both Bring the Pain and Dr. Roto on Facebook. We're literally almost at 500 followers. Thanks, Steve. I'm almost done right here. We're getting it because I'm going to get to my ID pick and I'm going to also get to my Macho Pick of the Week. Oh, you're going to hear my Macho Pick of the Week, Steve. You're going to hear it. It's not going to be a surprise. So, me and Dan, 5-1 overall for the show. If you just bet money lines and you listen to the Fight Club of Pain, you win money every week. Me and Dan are up. Like, I don't count them because I stopped counting when I was like 56-11. We're like 296 and maybe like 25. We just nail. And if you don't believe us, join. All of it is in the Fight Club of Pain, in the MMA, betting, and DFS lineups. All of it's right there. Just go. Just see what happens when I'm not fighting and I'm actually available to give bets through the whole fight and the whole night. Just go see. But, if you don't want to believe it, that's fine. But you could be our rich friend because we have the right cure for any fantasy football need. Yeah. All right. Let's stay tuned. The Fight Club of Pain will be live this Thursday for UFC Brazil. We got Oliveira versus Gamrot. That's going to be a fun card. You are going to probably go back to 3 fights covered, maybe 4. Feels how Froggy Dan is. But, of course, we have Thursday Night Football that night. We will give out a showdown lineup that night as well, too. Man, I got to, remember, too, that when the Fight Club of Pain gives you advice, or the Ultra Contrarian Show gives you advice, or any expert gives you advice, it's our thoughts, it's what our numbers, and it's what our feelings go. You don't always have to take that advice or that bet. You don't always have to believe in us as well either. The fact is just, it's there for you. Not everybody is going to like my style. Not everybody's going to say, I don't always want finishes. I like decisions. That's why Dan makes a lot of decisions sometimes, where I'm highly aggressive, right? So that's what you get. You get the expertise, the fight theory, the how to finish. Just like Olberg 2 weeks ago when I called the jab cross finishing, and it happens. That's something a fighter will do for you, and no computer or expert that's never been punched in the face can do for you. I believe that. I 100% believe that. The fact that somebody's going to give you advice and not take a punch to the face to actually show, well, anybody can look at a screen and go, he's going to throw the 1-2, right? But the way he threw the 1-2, he threw it down pipe, stepped in around the punch of Reyes and hooked him. That is classic boxing. It was brought up on the Fight Club of Pain that way. You can believe all you want, but next week I win my championship and nobody's stopping me. And that's because I am up by over 600 points. So that's what happens when you're a good fighter. You win a lot more than you lose, and that's what happens when you're able to identify things like that. I just want to talk about that. We are wrong. We are wrong sometimes. I picked Ank as my pick, but as a hedge, all the money was on Pereira. The same way we made hedges and all the money when we go, there's no money on this side. When me and Dan say there's no money on that side, we're saying we're putting money on the other side. Dan had an amazing parlay. When he got the Jacob win over Patchy Mix, FanDuel was trying to buy his parlay back, his 5-leg parlay, which had Olberg knockout on it, or under Olberg money line. He had something on. I didn't go it. They were trying to buy his stuff back for $130. Like literally, he only won 2 fights. And they were trying to buy it because he called that Jacob call. And he did it live. But we don't know anything, right? Yeah. That's all for y'all people. We just try to win you money. So that is what it is. We try, we execute. If you listen, you may win, you may not. But more times, 8 times out of 10, in the Fight Club of Pain and Ultra Contrarian Show, you win. It just happens to be that me and Steve hit practically every player every week. So we'll just say that. Good job, Steve. Woo! All right, let's get to it. Your waiver wire is licking. This is IDP, and your IDP hero has your back. Bro, what's up with 60% snap rate? 40% more production if you could get it. Man, why is this man 14% owned? I can't tell you. But he's had 8 sacks. He just came off of 2.5 sacks against the Super Bowl champions. I'm talking about Nick Bonito of the Denver Broncos. Bro sacked Jalen Hurts 2.5 times. What more do you need to what more do you need to know? Like, that is insane. The fact that he was able to sack him 2.5 times, I'm checking on something because I want to make sure, more than 2.5 times only shows what he was doing in that game against the Philadelphia Eagles. And they weren't even at home. They were on road. And so that's going to be your running game. Keep it close, hard-nosed defense. The Denver Broncos defense showed up and showed out and beat Philly. Gave them their loss. And Philly was close, but Denver came back and took that. The same way the Jacksonville Jaguars came back on the Kansas City Chiefs and took that too, right? So that is what I'm saying, is that is crazy. But here's the thing. What's next up? Look, Benito's got, he doesn't have a bye week for like 6-7 weeks, right? And he gets the Jets next week. If you can catch Jalen Hurts, you can catch Justin Fields. And I'm all done with the Jets. Even though my Jets, and I felt real dirty. I said it to Steve. You remember this, Steve. I feel really, really dirty playing that many Jets. And it worked out. I got lucky. But I ain't rolling that game this time. Dallas had 5 sacks against them. And that right there alone lets me know, was it 5? That when the Denver Broncos play the New York Jets this week, the Denver Broncos defense have a chance to get that many sacks as well. So I'm going to say the Denver Broncos are going to get over 3 sacks. If you want to bet it, over 4 sacks, if you can find that bet. Denver Broncos. And Nick Bonito will have one of those sacks. So there's a bet for you if you can find that. I see that they're coming back out with a lot more, getting them out earlier in the week. I'm going to put the money on it. He's been doing it. 60% snap share. I would like a little more. He's getting 66. It's back and forth a little bit with him. But that 14% owned allows me to know that that is an excellent pickup for your waiver wire tonight. You can get him, people, and go get him, because not everybody, outside of anybody listening to this podcast, knows that IDP matters to Mr. Heat Override and Dr. Roto. Yeah. Woo! All right. Wait a minute. Knock, knock.
Ooh, yeah, it's that time of the week when the Macho Man shows up and shows out. Ooh, yeah, my boy Nico Collins came through. He didn't get the touchdowns. Xavier Hutchinson got the touchdowns. Made the Macho Man a little mad, yeah. But then the Macho Man was repraised when the Nico Collins got the touchdown.
And this week's Macho Pick of the Week is going to be Kyren Williams. How can I follow up a 32-point game? 6,300 on DraftKings, 8,400 on FanDuel. This boy lost my Rams the game. And he had an amazing game. So I'm running it back. The Rams, I'm so sorry, Steve. The Rams are going to ram their way through the Baltimore Ravens. We're going to sack them. We're going to hurt them. And we're going to use them for a doormat to incite revenge. That Kyren, the Siren Williams, is going to go off. Here's a prediction for you. His 80 yards, all-purpose yards, should probably be around negative 340. Touchdown's going to be anywhere negative 180 to negative 240. Not all the sites have this yet. So that's why I'm throwing it out there. If you parlay that together, you're probably getting a plus 112. If for some reason you do parlay that, when it becomes fully available on FanDuel, DraftKings, whatever it is, site that you play on, and it is a 112, think about me. Think about how I got that right. And think about how Kyron Williams at 6,300 is a must start on DraftKings. Now, I was really close to another player, and I know Steve is going to be like, Rob, I know you're thinking of him, and I got it. You know your team's going to get ran through. I'll give you one. I do like Josh Jacobs this week. He's almost feels too easy. He's also 85 on FanDuel, so if you run Williams and Jacobs, you're really not going to have a lot of money on FanDuel. But, you know, when you listen to the Ultra Contrarian show, we'll be able to save money at quarterback, tight end, and defense, and get that win for you. That's what we're doing here. That's the Macho Pick of the week. I know it's a little crazy, but don't be sad. Josh Jacobs is going to have over 100 yards and could possibly score 2 touchdowns. The Packers are rolling in this game. The Rams are rolling in this game. You know where my stacks are going. Have a great day, everybody. Get to the site. Use code word WIN. Become our rich friend. Get the right gear for all of your fantasy needs. The best one-liners in the world. Only followed up by the greatest line of all time. And that's always remember to bring the pain. Ooh, yeah.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. Until the next visit, be well and take care.